Well, hello kids. Thought I'd read you another story here. It's about a dog named Clifford. And before we get started, because some of you are pretty far away, I want to make sure you can all hear me. So Lily, can you hear me okay? Parker, what about you? Can you hear me? And Gemma, can you hear me okay? And how about Laura? Laura, can you hear me okay? How about Caleb? Can you guys hear me okay? And Elise and Isaac? I hope you can hear me okay. I know you're all pretty far away. I want to make sure I speak loud enough so you can hear me. Okay, you ready? Well, this is called Clifford, the small red puppy. Look how little Clifford is. It's got his name on the dog bowl, and he is so small he can't even get into the dog bowl to eat his food. That's a problem. Well, let's get started with the story. Here it starts. Look at that dog. That's not a small dog. That's a huge dog. And the story starts out with Emily Elizabeth. And she says, "This is my dog Clifford. He is a big red dog. Look how big Clifford is." Wow. Then the story goes on. "Yesterday, my friend Martha said, 'I got my dog from a fancy pet store. Where did you get yours?' So I told her how I got Clifford. Look how big Clifford is. Oh my gosh. Martha thought she had a big dog. Clifford is huge. Well, she said, when I was little, I lived in the city. And I didn't have a dog." Look at her. Everybody was pretty tight in the city with a little bit of a backyard and a house, and she played in her little backyard, but there they didn't have a dog. Then one day a man down the hall called us, and his dog had had puppies. And he said, "You know what? I'd like to give you one of my puppies." And so guess what they did? They went over to his house and looked at the puppies. Do you see the puppies? There's 3 of them and the mommy. And look at Elizabeth is holding up, Emily is holding up one dog, that little red dog. Do you see the little red dog? And she said, one dog was a lot smaller than the others, but Emily loved that dog. And the owner said, "Well, don't pick him. He's so small, he'll probably always be a little bit sick." And the owner wanted her to pick some bigger dog. But she said, "I love this little dog. I want this to be my dog." And that's what she chose. She chose that little red dog, even though it was called the runt of the litter. And a runt of the litter is the littlest dog, and sometimes they're a little bit sick. But she wanted this dog. Pretty fun story so far. I named the puppy Clifford. He was so tiny, I had to feed him with my doll's baby bottle. Look at her trying to feed the little doggy. Can you see that? We got the smallest collar we could find for Clifford. Look at that collar. She found the smallest collar for the dog. And look at Clifford. Clifford looks about as big as a mouse. But guess what? The collar was way too big for Clifford. It went around his waist like a belt. When he began to eat dog food, we had to watch him all the time. Look at that. He'd try to eat his food, and sometimes he'd fall in his food. Look at that. He was so little that he was always getting lost, even in our small apartment. Here, her dad's putting on his shoes, and you can hear the dog saying, woof, woof, woof. He must have been in the shoes. They had to keep looking out for him. He was always getting lost. He was so small. So Daddy said Clifford was just too small. He didn't think he could live through the winter, and I was very sad. That night, I wished he would grow to be a big, healthy dog, and I told him I loved him. Look how little the dog is. It is so little. And she said she wished, she made a wish, sort of like when you have your birthday and you have your candles and you make a wish. She made a wish. The next morning, he looked a little bigger to me. Oh, she woke up and it was like, wait, and he was sleeping in her bed. And he was starting to look a little bit bigger. Maybe her wish was coming true. Oh, he seemed to have an easier time eating his dog food. See, he can start to get up there. In fact, by the time Daddy got home, the collar was too small. There's a Dad coming in, and the collar doesn't fit Clifford anymore. Clifford is definitely getting bigger. By bedtime, Clifford's tiny basket seemed a little too small for him. Look at that. He's too big. He's too big for his little basket now. So I let him sleep on my pillow again, just like when he was little. So he got to sleep in the bed with Emily. But that was a mistake. When she woke up in the morning, look how big Clifford was. He was getting bigger really fast. Look how big he is. Next morning, Mommy thought Clifford looked different. Daddy said, I think he's growing. Uh-oh. Do you think Clifford is growing? Now he can hold his own bowl. He's getting plenty big. He's really changing. I think that wish is happening. I decided to take Clifford for a walk around the corner. I saw a big dog coming. I knew I should pick Clifford up so the big dog couldn't hurt him. Look at that big dog was coming around the corner, and she thought, oh, I need to pick up my dog, Clifford, so it'll be safe. But, oh my, Clifford had already grown so much that he was bigger than that other dog already. And she was like, oh, I guess I don't have to pick you up. And they look at the other dog. The other dog is a little bit scared of Clifford. Clifford's getting pretty big. Well, had our apartment door grown smaller? Because, in this case, Clifford had come home. And when they got back home, Clifford couldn't even get back in the house. Look how big Clifford is getting. He's growing really fast. Daddy couldn't believe it. We put Clifford in the garden to sleep that night. In the morning, the lady upstairs called us. It was about Clifford. Look how big he is. He's looking in the windows, in the upstairs windows. All of you have upstairs windows. Wouldn't it be weird to see a dog looking in your windows and you're upstairs? Look at the lady. She's like, oh my. Well, in fact, all the neighbors were starting to notice Clifford. He's sitting in the backyard. Remember, they don't have a real big backyard. He takes up almost the whole backyard. Look how big he is. Look at the neighbors looking at him. The landlord called the police. They came to see Clifford. They said Clifford would have to go, but how? We couldn't get him through the door. Look at the police officers. They're trying to wonder what to do with Clifford. There was no way to get him out. Well, they came up with a solution. Look at that. Parker, you like cranes? Look at, they had to use a big crane to get Clifford into a moving van. Oh my. Look at that. Well, we sent him to live with my uncle who lived in the country. So there he is going down the road in a moving truck, and it looks like he's actually getting to be a little bit big. Just a second here, kiddos. We're watching Snickers, and Snickers needed to go outside real quick, so I let him go outside. He was knocking at the door, so that's what was happening. Oh, I got a little bit of a problem here. Woo! I got some wild eyebrows. So, there's Clifford going down the freeway, and you know what? There's a person driving the other way, and they're looking back at Clifford. Oh, I was sad I missed my puppy. Emily was still sad. She really missed Clifford. And you know what? Clifford was almost crying. Do you see a little bit of a tear? He was sad too because he missed her as well. But he was staying out on a big farm with the uncle. But then one day oh my, look at those eyebrows. One day we got a surprise. My uncle wanted Daddy to come work with him in the country. We moved right away. Look at that. And now they're moving into the country. Do you see a tail? I think Clifford's hiding behind the house because they're going to go to a new house in the country to be by the uncle. And the dad and the uncle are going to work. Clifford was waiting for me. Look at that. And it says, I said, Clifford stopped growing. You are just right. Look at Clifford and look at Emily. That is really nice. She is happy, happy, happy. So, I said to Martha, that's how I got my dog. Tell me again how you got your dog. And Martha said, forget it. She couldn't remember. Look at her and look at Clifford. And that's the end of the story. Whoa, look at them eyebrows. Look at them eyebrows. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story about Clifford. It says here, the small red puppy. But then she made a wish. And after she made the wish, Clifford started growing. I love these eyebrows. They're so cute. And we got to see how Clifford was growing and growing. It was a good story. I hope you enjoyed the story about Clifford, the red dog. I love you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.